What is going on, everybody? Welcome to a very special day 2 of Super Week here at Off the Ball Network. We're doing a Overreaction Monday to cap the season, basically the season finale of Overreaction Monday. Do things slightly different. Instead of the biggest winners, biggest losers, we're going to go with the season-long outlook on biggest surprises, biggest disappointments, and, of course, the biggest overreactions that we have from this past season. So, without further ado, got my guy to my right, President. Happy belated birthday! Not going to tell you, not going to tell everybody how old you are, but if I was Kevin Hart, I'd say, hey. My guy Mo down there.
Fair man, so.
Guy Mo of Up in Flames podcast and the Podfather himself, right below me, Mr. Jeff Hunt, who needs no introduction. How you guys doing today?
Fantastic, man. Super week.
Yeah, I'm good. Was watching a little bit of basketball. Was watching the Lakers Hornets.
You watching Lakers Hornets over Cavs Kings?
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Yeah, I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch LeBron. I ain't gonna lie to you. I am gonna watch LeBron.
Future New York Knick.
I don't care where he at. I just would hate for him to leave right now. Just don't want to get on that. I'm just saying I don't want to have to root for
if
another
it comes
team.
to New York, you have to come to New York then.
I don't want to root for another team.
So,
but it's the Super Bowl week.
Right. That's enough basketball talk for one day. We're going to jump right into this, starting with Mr. President himself. Chris, what has been your biggest surprise, season outlook-wise, on the entire 2023-2024 season?
On the count of 3, let's all say it at the same time. Oh, no, I'm just joking. I feel like we all got the same answer.
Biggest surprise for this season. I mean, I have a few things that surprised me. I'm not going to lie. This is probably personal, but I thought the Giants would be a lot better. Like, and we lost the host. Where'd he go?
Yeah, it feels like we're gonna need him.
Yeah,
but I am just honestly like with the Giants.
Cruz is like, I'm not gonna get a word in edgewise, right?
Cruz is hungry, man. That boy Samoan got to eat. Samoan got to eat. You know, but I was surprised with the Giants and how bad they look. And especially the first half of the season, like I know maybe I was just overreacting to like, oh, maybe they win a division, but I thought they would definitely, you know, add to what they did last year, winning a playoff game and all that. So for them to be as bad as they were early on the season, like to me, that was really disappointing and surprising. I didn't expect it. You know, I thought Dable was a really good coach, and you know, I thought they would just come out being a better football team, or at least looking better. But I mean, game 1, we took it to us on prime time football, you know, at the crib against Mo's Cowboys. So that to me, just, you know, maybe that's personal, but them being so inept for most of the season. The second half, they looked like a football, like how they should have probably looked, you know, but disappointing. So yeah, that surprised me how bad the New York Giants looked in the first half, and it has a lot of questions going into this season that you know, quite frankly, I don't know if they can solve it all, and there might be some changes after the 2024 season.
Yeah, Giants. I mean, it was a recipe for disaster. I think from the start. I'm not trying to just talk shit here, but I don't think anybody really honestly believed Daniel Jones was worth the initial contract he signed, the $40 million contract.
No, he's definitely not worth it.
I know they restructured it to make it less of a cap hit or less of an average per year, but still
essentially like a 2-year deal with like everything front loaded, and then
right
you can get.
But even then, like again,
it's still bad.
Nobody thought he was worth that kind of money. While leaving Saquon back there, having to go on the Rich Eisen podcast and talk about, well, I mean, if you don't want to pay me, screw it.
But that's the previous regime putting them in a bad situation. You know, drafting. We can go all day talking about running backs.
Right. Well, I mean, to a certain extent, yes.
But they also didn't want to get left out of not having a quarterback, so they're kind of in like a weird situation where like you can't not have a quarterback after making the playoffs, and you kind of with the market with quarterbacks like we got to give him 40 million, but it's not going to be as bad. He won't be here after next year, so I'm not tripping as much as I was before, but it was still a crappy season. I didn't expect us to be this bad. Maybe not missed the playoffs, yeah, but the way we missed it and all that, and then we actually win games at the end when we should have just lost football games. It's just crazy, It's like the opposite of you guys. Like you guys started off like, oh, that you guys got something going.
You might do something.
You guys actually might do something. You might have your quarterback, and he's not making no money, and it kind of flipped. It's crazy how it flipped, for both our teams.
Yeah. So Jeff, I'm gonna go to you next. Biggest surprise of this season?
Man, it's a tough one. Like honestly, like how good the Dolphins played. As a fan, I was actually surprised that like they're supposed to have the greatest offense, and they did. Like all this is regular season stuff because it's hard to look back at. Like now that we've had the playoffs, go on, it's so easy to dismiss everything that happened. How good the Ravens were. I mean, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens were awesome all year. Had one of the greatest seasons in NFL history, regular seasons in NFL history. Like I didn't really see that coming. Baker Mayfield surprised me. And Detroit Lions. I thought it was all I thought it was all like, yeah, you think you're going to take the next step, and they did. After seeing them get their teeth kicked in a couple times last year, they played good and could have been there. But honestly, the Green Bay Packers, how good they were at the end of the season, how Jordan Love looks like the quarterback of the future. Shocked by it. I never thought that Jordan Love was going to be bad, but I thought it was going to take a couple more seasons with these young receivers and all that. They quite possibly could be in the Super Bowl right now. Like that's how good they got by the end of the season. So I think my biggest surprise was like, wow, Green Bay was way better than I thought they were going to be.
Yeah, I like that Green Bay take. That's kind of where I was leaning. I have one more in the back of my head, but I think Mo's about to take it.
The Baker one is a good one, Jeff, because I thought the Buccaneers were on the clock, to be honest. I thought they were the worst 100%. Team in football going into the season. So that he definitely showed out. But now they got to figure out that he's worthy of 30, 35.
Oh, they're in bad shape now. The worst thing
they're in the Daniel Jones situation.
They're in the Kirk Cousins, Daniel Jones. Like, man, this guy's we got to pay this guy, but we know that he can't win a Super Bowl. That is a tough spot to be in.
Yeah. I think it's a little different because Baker did do a lot for that team that he was asked to do a lot, and
that team also wasn't that good,
right?
Like it just wasn't.
And Daniel Jones, you look at his number from the 2022 season, like that clearly was not, hey, Daniel Jones put this team on his back. It was just, hey, Saquon had a hell of a year, and you game managed the hell out of the season. Like, but Mo, I'm gonna go on to you.
The biggest surprise is the fact that the Houston Texans won their division with a rookie quarterback, a rookie head coach. One happens to be named Coleridge Bernard Stroud IV, that attended the Ohio State University and
where did he go to high school? Where's his junior high school?
It was next to he'll be better than any quarterback Miami Hurricanes ever produced ever. All right, cool. My bad. Anyways, listen. Here's where I'm gonna tell you where it really took me by. I'm gonna tell you where how good CJ Stroud is took me by storm.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yesterday, it took me by storm how good he is yesterday. When you seen the reaction when he was throwing the ball to Jamar Chase and he was hanging the week, he spun the week with Stephon Diggs. And what did you hear coming out of Pro Bowl weekend the whole time? Jamar Chase jokingly, hey, come do that with me. Like, why would he say that when he got Joe Burrow? Like, hey, come throw passes to me. Like, then, Stephon Diggs, like, yeah, man, if there was anybody else I could catch passes from, it'd be CJ Stroud. So to me, like, that's to me is the surprise. Is like he goes to the Texans, turns around, they win. DeMeco Ryans, he could win coach of the year, probably very well should win coach of the year, rookie head coach, all the success. And Houston really feels like they found their franchise quarterback, but like this dude ain't just a star that we all saw it like as fans, right? And even we analyze the game and we know what we're watching. But when you see players acknowledged, when he's around those 8-9 year vets that are in and are like, oh man, if I make a move, Houston could be something because I would love to go play with that kid CJ Stroud over there. Like, that's what it made me realize, like, dang, what CJ Stroud and them did. Like, and then it's nice to see, you know, because the Ohio State quarterback could never. We thought this was impossible to see a successful. We thought this was impossible. So
we got two of them.
It has been
two of them this season.
Ooh.
2 starting quarterbacks in the NFL were from Ohio State this season.
Yeah, he started, but I'm talking about we ain't ever seen a guy look like a star.
No, but what I'm saying is like 2 of the 32 were from Ohio State.
Yeah, but it's just like seeing him at Pro Bowl weekend. Like, it tells me like Houston got some going. They got some cap space too. I know they got some decisions to make, but they got some cap space. They got a little bit of draft capital. Like, they ain't trying to trade up for no quarterback. So like they look like a team that could be on the rise and be the destination. And
they could be good. They could be
those vets that play for a year.
They're the best team in their division right now. Like,
and if they go get those vets, like I could give you 1 or 2 more years of like elite production, and you might have to overpay them a little bit, but you know how they push salaries to the back end. You know how they finesse all these deals now. Like, but Houston might be that destination over the next 2 to 3 years, and Houston trying to win that way, because before they have to pay CJ Stroud the $80 million that quarterback's going to be making at that time. Like, by the time he get paid, they're going to be getting paid like $75 million. So you try and load up with if Stephon Diggs becomes available, we try and get him. Yeah, we might have to pay him a little bit. But
Diggs will
doing stuff like that.
I can't talk about Diggs. Diggs is a
negative Stroud.
Negative player.
Diggs wasn't ruling Stroud.
Negative.
But I think that I was surprised by that. And then
that was surprising.
Something else I was surprised by too.
Kenny Galladay's available. They can get him.
Oh yeah, I bet. But like something else. Like, I mean, obviously, I guess everybody was surprised by the Texans, but like something else was like, bro, I was surprised like how good the Raiders played after they fired Josh McDaniels, and the fact like now I'm surprised that it stuck and they decided to keep him. Like, you know, it kind of takes some balls because like they didn't keep him the first time. So, like, you could be known as the coach, and if you make the wrong hire, like, all that pressure that was going into that decision while they were winning games at the end and kind of playing themselves out of maybe the Caleb Williams sweepstakes, you know, essentially, like, the Giants felt like they were doing, like, at the end, you're winning games, and we should be playing into a quarterback at this point. What are we doing? But at the same time, it's good to rally at the end of the season and have some good positivity going into the next season. People build off of that. Got Antonio Pierce a head coaching job. Essentially, they felt like every player was behind them, so but I was surprised by that because you don't see that often. Usually when the head coach gets fired in the middle of the season, it goes downhill. And I mean, that's twice in the past 3 years that you've seen it from the Raiders. So
the Raiders have no intention on being good until Mahomes is out of Kansas City. Like the Raiders have no intentions on being good until Mahomes is gone. So like they don't care.
Yeah, because like you just can't. Like
they don't care. They're playing for the first pick in 3 years from now. Like this team is going to be a non-factor for another 5 years. I'm glad they kept Pierce. I mean, I think he is a good coach, and I'm glad. But like, that's fine. You can go 9-8. Like, great, great. Like, that's awesome.
They need their quarterback situation.
But you ain't a factor. You ain't a factor.
Even
their running back situation is bad. Like they're not going to re-sign what's his face back.
Man, ain't nobody. Right? They're a non-factor.
My biggest surprise, I'm going to go with the AFC North as a whole. One, how good the Ravens were, how well Lamar Jackson looked this season. The Browns, despite losing their starting quarterback, still winning was a 4 straight with Joe Flacco, getting to the playoffs, you know, losing to what we now know is a good quarterback in CJ Stroud and that Texans team. Of course, set up really nicely for the future. Steelers, you know, Mike Tomlin being Mike Tomlin, and I stand by my take that I said. 10-7 with run-of-the-mill quarterbacks. You show me a coach in the NFL that can do, other than Kyle Shanahan, that can do what he just did with Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph. I promise you, only
Yeah, but
one.
Let's dissect this a little bit, Cruz.
Let's do it.
Pittsburgh took advantage of every positive opportunity that came their way. Injuries, the Ravens laying down in the last game of the season. Like, there ain't nothing wrong with that. There ain't nothing wrong with backing into the playoffs. But like, it's like the Philadelphia Eagles from last year. Like, they took advantage of, like, if you go look at the record and what the Steelers did, you're like, oh, they didn't really do anything last year, and then got their teeth kicked in, early by the Buffalo. I mean, it's just like, that's fine. You can get into the playoffs that way, but like, their season wasn't as good as it feels like it was.
I mean, I beg to differ because they beat some playoff teams. They beat the Browns in week 2 while they still had their quarterback. They beat the Ravens in week 5, which
Ravens win. That's
Ravens
legit.
weren't laying
100%.
down for nobody.
Nope, 100%.
Rams are a playoff team. They beat. Packers ended up being a playoff team given the time of the season back in November. Still a playoff team. They beat. The Bengals weren't atrocious like we all thought they were going to be when Joe Burrow left.
I want you to listen to this though. You want me to tell you what? The Steelers just went to the playoffs and their quarterback absolutely sucks. They're
true.
in the worst position you can be in.
You know what? I retort everything. They're so bad.
No, like I'm like, they are in the worst situation you could be in because you just went to the playoffs, had no business being there. So you tricked yourself that you actually might be a pretty good team when everything went your way. Your quarterback sucks. And guess what? You're probably not going to draft a good quarterback. There's not too many good quarterbacks that just happen to become available. You hope maybe if they get Russell Wilson, I think we have a different conversation because I think Russell Wilson would be good enough for that team. I think he would be good enough for that team. He's for sure an upgrade over Mason Rudolph or Kenny Pickett, bar none. So they do upgrade there. But like, you just played yourself out of anything for the future. Now this is what you are. Unless you get like a game-changing, and it doesn't have to be a game-changing quarterback, but you got to make a significant upgraded quarterback, or else you're a team that if you play really good defense and things fall your way and you get enough turnovers, you win games.
But to agree with Cruz, I was shocked at how many wins the Steelers got. I thought they were
like getting 10 wins.
This wasn't me saying that the Steelers are set up. They're going to be Super Bowl contenders next season. I'm just saying what Mike Tomlin was able to do with what you just said, Mo.
That's fair.
Abysmal quarterback play that he has. Name me a coach that can go 10-7 with Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph.
Belichick couldn't. That's what we know. Belichick couldn't.
Yeah,
I'm a little surprised at how bad the Patriots were. I'm like, you got to be a little better than that.
Yeah, that was bad.
Not to get too sidetracked, but what if Pittsburgh were able to nab somebody like a Bo Nix or a Michael Penix late in the first round? I mean,
I don't care.
Isn't Michael Penix an upgrade?
Yo, wait a minute. Mo just spent a half hour telling us how drafting a quarterback changed the Houston Texans. But when you bring out the Steelers, like, nah, Steelers can't do it. Even though the Steelers were just in the playoffs.
Michael Penix. If you telling me Michael Penix or Bo Nix, bro, then go the Russell.
I think Bo Nix puts the Steelers in the playoffs next year.
Man, if that's the route you're going, man, go the Russell Wilson route. Like, go that route and go get a quality first round pick.
I'd rather have Nix than Wilson.
Go get a quality that could contribute on the offensive side or whatever it is that you on the O-line or on the defensive side, wherever you need to upgrade. Do not go get no Bo Nix because all he gonna do is he gonna make that 10-7 look a little better. But guess what? You still gonna go 10-7. It just looks a little better. That's all it is he going to put a little bit of Band-Aid on the wound because it doesn't look as bad.
Talk about getting sidetracked real quick because we were all here for the show a few years ago. Can we talk real quick about how right we were in the last few years about like Kenny Pickett, about Mac Jones, about all these dudes that were like, what are you doing?
McCorkle.
Like look at looking back.
Steven with McCorkle.
We were. I thought about that today. I was like, we were so right about most of these first round quarterbacks that we're like, what are you doing?
Once we saw him wear 2 gloves, we knew it was a wrap.
It was a wrap in a dome. This dude wore 2 gloves in a dome. I was like, this is over.
You drafted Justin Bieber from BYU. Like, come on, man. What are we doing?
Zach Wilson?
Like, what are we doing here, man?
I just want to talk about how right we were about, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that
that's
was
when we
bad.
thought Bill
Those are
Belichick
bad
was.
quarterbacks.
We thought he was something. But again, to my point, just what Mike Tomlin was able to do, going 10-7 is still. You're still in the NFL.
It's still.
No, you're correct. It was surprising, but it was surprising.
The Browns having the #1 defense in the league. That was impressive too.
I'm not surprised.
It wasn't surprising though.
No, I'm just saying, but like for them to play so good.
Browns were good as hell. Like
they're calling Joe Flacco off the couch and being like, "We need you, bro." We need you. They went through 4 quarterbacks.
But the Browns
get him into the conversation of comeback player of the year.
Bro, Belichick's got the 3rd pick in the draft, and he's got a quarterback that he picked to be the franchise quarterback. The Browns and the Steelers rolled into the playoffs with some dudes off the couch.
And Deshaun Watson wasn't playing good even when he was, playing. He was
but he started like the flip or the switch had flipped with Deshaun Watson right when he got hurt.
Ravens.
Them 2 weeks right before he got hurt, like it was like, Deshaun Watson playing really good
for most of the year. He was not good.
But now guess what? That puts all the pressure on Deshaun Watson. He's probably a player with the most pressure.
I think it's fair.
He loves pressure.
Deshaun Watson
we know that.
Not care. Deshaun Watson don't care about football. I'm putting Deshaun Watson in the category. He does not care about football. Ain't none of like.
No. When I saw him in the when he went to the suite and we saw Joe Burrow with half a hand, just out in the field cheering for his teammates, that showed me how much you care about this.
A huge difference.
I'm over Deshaun. I'm over him.
Me too. I am. I think he can be all right.
It's sad too because he could have been like one of those guys that could have been special, but he ruined his reputation.
Stay out the parlor. And then just to finish my point, the Bengals losing Joe Burrow, still finishing 9-8.
That's impressive.
That speaks to Zach Taylor.
But their team's going to change a lot though because they're going to lose potentially.
They're going to lose T. Higgins for sure. He's going to be a commander in a few months. But
you think so?
Yeah, I do. So. They're all the big name free agents. I think they're gonna.
Bengals can't keep nobody.
This is gonna be like 2000
into their Dan Snyder era, and he's just gonna get everything.
Albert Haynesworth,
no cruising. You're exactly right.
At least
them owners are like
their prime.
Them owners Johnson. I can't wait for Magic Johnson tweets. If the Washington Commanders score more points, they will win this football game. It's the key to the game. I can't wait for Magic Johnson tweets.
But the Bengals speaks to me a lot about Zach Taylor and doing something I wasn't sure like if he could do because we knew Joe Burrow's that dude, Jamar Chase that dude, T. Higgins ended up being
Here's the thing. I said this preseason. Like, why is Joe Burrow? Like, I know Joe Burrow is a really good quarterback when he plays, but all I heard about preseason was like, if this person can stay healthy, and Jeff was like, well, what about Joe Burrow? Like, why do we assume he can stay healthy? Yeah. And he didn't. He takes everybody's just like, oh no, Joe Burrow's hurt. It's fine. He'll be the best quarterback in the world next year. I'm like, but he ain't injury prone. Lamar Jackson sort of sits out because whatever reasons. They're like, like he may never play again. Like Joe Burrow's like, nah, he's gonna be great. Like he'll have no linger. This dude's already missed basically 2 seasons with injury. And nobody cares.
And he's an older quarterback too. Jeff, he's an older quarterback too. Remember that.
Right. I'm just saying, like, nobody cares. Like, he's missed 2 seasons.
Catastrophic injuries too. He's got catastrophic injuries. So
he got injured in the preseason and then got injured a different part of his body mid-season. Ain't nobody cares. That's Lamar Jackson are like eyes made of glass.
He had injuries in college too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he lost
the quarterback competition because he had a broken hand.
That's why he lost in Ohio State, right? Because he hurt his hand.
Yeah, he had broken hand.
No. He lost the quarterback position because Haskins was a fucking baller.
Well, he never really competed.
I'm just saying that's why. It had nothing to do with that hand.
I think it had everything to do with
the same season that Haskins threw for 50 touchdowns, Joe Burrow stumbled into a season at LSU. Stop it.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
He wasn't ready.
That first year. That people forget the first year exists,
bro.
But that's either
Shady just had the same season at LSU as Joe Burrow. That's how long it took to repeat that season. 3 years, 4 years. Like, stop.
So, Jeff, since you're on a roll, I'm gonna go right back to you with your biggest disappointment of the 2023 season.
Well, now you know what? I'll say the opposite. Super disappointed in what the Ravens did in that last playoff game. I know it's not regular season. That absolutely like when a team has every advantage and no excuses, and they still lose. You know what? I'll both teams that Mahomes killed, the Bills and the Ravens, absolutely crumbled under the weight of just Mahomes being on the other side of the field. Both had chances to win. Mahomes didn't do anything crazy, and neither one of them could come up with the win. Like absolutely devastatingly honestly, change your franchise disappointments. Like you don't always recover from that. I would not be shocked at all if Buffalo and the Ravens both just kind of took next year off to just kind of like mull over what happened and kind of like cry in their cereal before they rebound. Absolute devastating disappointments.
Yeah, I don't know. It's still Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be a conversation I want to have later on in the week.
Yeah, but here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. When the season starts and you're in the AFC, you're like, okay, we know the one guy that we're probably going to have to beat. So what do we want? We want home field advantage. We want the bye. We want to be healthy.
Yeah.
Both Buffalo and the Ravens got everything that they told us they wanted. Like all I heard all season was like, you got to get Mahomes, got to get him out of Kansas City. Buffalo's like, then we're going to kick his ass. Like that's all that mattered. Like they changed the rules so Buffalo could beat Kansas City. They literally changed the rules of the NFL because they want Buffalo to beat Kansas City. Mahomes went into Buffalo, people throwing snowballs, jumping through tables, being drunk and white as they could be. Mahomes is like, not today. Roll into Baltimore. Baltimore, like, now come on, man. Had a bye, had a walkthrough with Houston and a rookie quarterback. And as soon as Mahomes went down the field, they were like, shit.
Yeah,
it was over.
It reminded me a lot about, I think it was it Toronto or Atlanta one year when they were saying all year, if we get number one seed, if we get home court advantage, like LeBron's a non-factor, he would take, and then, or when he was with Cleveland and they went and got the one seed, in Cleveland, it was like the 3 seed, and when they second round, they swept them.
Yeah,
it was Toronto.
Because LeBron hit the buzzer beater, I think, game 1 or game 2.
Yep.
And it was
exactly
over.
like that, Cruz.
Yeah.
It was over.
So,
yeah, it's good
both
them
teams,
comparison. Yeah.
Good seasons and absolute, like, here's the thing. When you lose and you don't have any excuses, that's hard to swallow. Like those are tough.
Too, Buffalo.
Like those are tough to swallow when you're like, why'd you lose? You're like, I don't know. Those are tough to swallow.
I remember having a conversation with one of my boys at work, and he asked, this was going into the divisional round, asked about the Ravens, and I said, I think Buffalo's going to win, and if Buffalo wins, Buffalo will beat the Ravens. But if Kansas City somehow pulls it out, I think Ravens is going to handle Kansas City.
Yeah,
and
it didn't.
Show this. I hold my beer.
Crazy how football works, right? It's just you can't explain it really. Because usually, right, we always go based off like whoever gets to the playoffs the hottest is going to have that run. Buffalo legit was playing playoff games from 6-6 on.
Yep.
Right, every game was a playoff game, and Miami faltered and they go win a division. That was the way Miami was playing early in the season. You're like, there's no way the Dolphins might go 14-3 and just cruise to the division championship. Guess what? Last game of the season, they was for the division title and Buffalo won. So we're like, all the momentum's on Buffalo's side. And then we get to the playoffs, like, all right, they're going to have Pat play his first playoff game ever at us. We have all the momentum, right? And they didn't take, and we talked about that, Jeff and Mo, like before, like, and we're like, so if it didn't happen this year, is it ever going to happen? And this team's going to look different next year, right? Because we have a lame duck coach now, Diggs, he's probably won't be there next year. We have a lot of these disappointing guys on defense, a lot of disappointing guys on defense. You had a guy you paid $15 million and had no sacks. And he had a lot of issues off the field too.
Yeah.
But the secondary that was banged up. Linebackers, all their linebackers feel like they tore their ACL. The defensive line, it's a lot of investment in that defensive line that underperformed. So, like, what is this team going to look like? This is their shot. This is their shot. And
at least the Ravens have a team put together. The Bills, and I don't know if anybody's going to take it, but at some point we got to talk about the Eagles. The dream team. Like somebody got to bring up the dream team.
NFC East. How about that?
Just the dream
team. Can I go
team.
with my disappointment? Let me go with my disappointment.
Go ahead, Fred.
The NFC East. The disappointments.
Oh, that's fair.
It's just disappointments after disappointments. All 4 teams should have done a lot better than what they did. All 4 teams. And obviously we know what the Commanders and the Giants did. Absolutely. Like the Giants were dead from the jump. The Commanders showed us something and then died. They just fell out and all that. And now we're talking about, we thought maybe Howell was the future. And now it's like, the future might be the USC quarterback now. Because now it looks like there's a good chance that somehow he's going to end up in which, I think it's going to happen. So those 2 teams, just nothing. And then we have the 2 teams, the team that went to the Super Bowl last year, start off 11-1, right? 11-1 or 10-1, whatever it was.
10-1.
And then lost 5-6 and just looked like one of the worst teams in football.
They were one of the worst teams in football.
They looked like a disaster. And then we see them against Tampa Bay and get smacked. And it was like, whoa. This is the same team that we thought was going to have maybe a run of getting to the Super Bowl 2 out of 3. And now it's like, whoa, this might not be as long a run.
Then talks of them firing their head coach.
Yes, they fired their DC. Both DCs were. I know they fired. They had a DC. Then they put Patricia at DC. They fired you suck. Fired their OC.
And keep in mind they got a high paid quarterback too.
And they just paid Jalen Hurts, and they have a high paying wide receiver who cries all the time in AJ Brown. So he's a diva and all that. So maybe an aging defensive line, right? So it's like, whoa, maybe this isn't as the good situation as we thought. And then we have most Dallas Cowboys who just do what they do every year, just disappoint and when it matters most. And this was the year we were like, maybe Dak's playing really good football.
And we were talking about Dallas, Philadelphia playing for the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And we thought Dallas, the defense, and then they do it. Then they get smoked by the Packers, a team that barely made the playoffs with Jordan Love. So it's like that division is just disappointment.
That's fair.
It's just a massive disappointment. They should have been we had the Giants were a playoff team who won a playoff game. The Commanders should have been way better. Maybe there was people talking about them maybe sneaky, playoff team or maybe even win the division the way it was, And then the Cowboys and the Eagles just, the Eagles fall off, and then the Cowboys do what they do never losing at home in the crib. And then getting smoked by the Packers is just embarrassing. So, that division, disappointment, because it's, I take pride. Listen, I know I hate every team in that division, but I take pride that, hey, we the only division that has a Super Bowl winner that in every team. We all 4 teams have a Super Bowl championship. So that's something you take pride if you want to rep the division. But come on now, we disappointing. We've been disappointed since the Eagles won the Super Bowl. It's been a lot of we have a 7-9 division champion. This is bad. The Giants can't win the division. We don't win the division ever, so we can't win the division. The Commanders win it when they're 7-9. The Cowboys the Cowboys always win the division, but then lose in their first round at home. Get smoked too. They feel like they get smacked every year. And then we got the Eagles, who were thrown with the juggernaut, disappoint and get bounced by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And people like me have to watch that division on primetime every week.
You see them every week on Friday.
And they're terrible.
The Giants got 6 primetime games, and we got smoked every single one.
Yeah. Only when we played the Commanders, 5 primetime games in the first 6 weeks.
We got smoked
in every single one. And keep in mind, a season ago, Commanders finished dead last with an 8-1 record. We're the only division last year to have everybody at least 500.
At least 500
in percentage. 3 of the 4 teams won a playoff game last year, and then for it to be this year, the way it turned out is rough.
That's a good point.
It's just
Mo is about to unload.
Mo's tired,
and the future is bleak. And the future, like the Commanders, if they get Caleb, they might have a solid. They have a new ownership.
Commanders ain't got
things might be, but like the Cowboys, we have no clue. They don't like their coach. We don't know, if they're going to CeeDee Lamb situation money. The Eagles, everything imploded. The Giants, they're going to be trash again. So, the division's still going to be the same way next year.
Hey, good news. Somebody going to win it. Somebody going to win
it. But it won't be at 12-5 like the Cowboys. I guarantee you that. It's going to be like 10-7. The division's going to be worse because every single one of those teams are going to either be worse or the same because it's just I don't see any improvements. Give me another bad year.
So Mo, I'm sorry you had to listen to that for nearly 10 straight minutes.
It's the truth.
I wasn't trying to get Cowboy hate today.
Division
been dealing with it for the last 3 weeks. So give us your biggest disappointment this year.
The Carolina Panthers and their handling of Bryce Young. If I'm not mistaken, so okay, they drafted Bryce Young. Andy Dalton was on that roster, right?
Yeah, he's a backup.
Bryce Young started day one, right?
Correct.
That made no sense from day one, right? Like we thought, like signing Andy, like you don't sign Andy Dalton for Bryce Young to be your day one starter out the gate. You remember they named Bryce Young the starter before camp started. He didn't even have to earn it after camp. We didn't have to hear about how special he was, how special it looked. But then, okay, let's start. They draft him, and then they make the wrong decision and make him the immediate starter. All right, cool, boom. Now let's go to the negligence of trying to put any talent around him. You had traded away DJ Moore. Like, you were very negligent to try and put any type of talent around him. You didn't do anything else in the draft. Then you look. So now he's playing bad. CJ Stroud is playing absolutely amazing. Now it comes to find out you're basically getting rid of everybody under the owner because everybody else wanted CJ Stroud. The owner now had to admit that he's wrong, has to find an entire new coaching staff, had to find a new GM and everything else and admit that he was wrong because he basically had to clean house of anybody else that has that "see, I told you so" when they wanted CJ Stroud. It made sense even when they fired the coach and who else they kept and who they decided to fire. It was like, oh, all these guys were the CJ Stroud guys. They wanted CJ Stroud in the building and they're all gone. So usually you keep them on the staff and let them ride it out, but they was all the CJ Stroud guys that they left. You don't usually fire the whole coaching staff in the middle of the season. Interim takes over. Y'all rock out for the rest of the year. So I think the handling, and then like you gave up so much for him. You don't even have a draft plan to me that looks like you can even get him any type of help to look like you're trying to win with this guy. Like the Panthers could be, you just traded up for the number one pick. And I think in this time next year, you could be talking about the Panthers could be thinking about drafting a quarterback. But I don't think it'd be the lack of what Bryce Young can or can't do. I just think it'd be like he was never set up to succeed in the first place. And even if he was a guy because of his size, you felt like he would need a little more help than a quarterback of, Trevor Lawrence's stature, who's 6'5" and, 240 or something like that. Like, I understand that. But like, if he was never set up to succeed in the first place, like Bryce Young could be a quarterback on a new team. Like it could be like the Baker Mayfield type situation. I'm not saying, Bryce Young to me could have been a little more talented than Baker Mayfield, but even still, like maybe he wasn't a better quarterback. Maybe he shouldn't have been taken at one, but even still the handling of him, like you ain't getting weapons. And then now it's going to be like, what are you going to do? Like you ain't got him Adam Thielen. Like you drafted a rookie quarterback and Adam Thielen. Like if I'm going to get you help, if I'm going to sign anything, I'd rather sign a guy that showed some promise, but is around my quarterback's age, only been in the league 2 to 3 years, then go sign Adam Thielen to say, hey, I'm trying to get you some help while I'm signing you an aging wide receiver who got about a year or two left. And then Adam Thielen tried to fool everybody talking about, oh, yeah, I came here. I thought we were going to try and compete for a Super Bowl. I thought we were going to win. But when you said that when you signed with Carolina, we all thought you were stupid and doing drugs and just going there for the money. Because nobody thought the Panthers was going – we didn't think they was going to win the division. We didn't think they was going to win a bunch of games. We just thought they was going to try and develop Bryce Young and build for the future and maybe make a few trades, trade some of their valuable pieces for draft picks so they could start this rebuild. And instead, no, they just were negligent to their quarterback. They just was stupid as can be, convinced Adam Thielen that they was trying to compete for a Super Bowl while drafting a quarterback at number one. And they were just negligent. The front office the entire year was negligent, but you might ruin Bryce Young's career without negligent.
Yeah, you could
rookie year.
You couldn't have done it. Mo, that was the best. I did not know how dialed in you were to Carolina Panthers football, but you were right about everything you said. Like, how many bad decisions could you make in a row?
What makes me mad about it is because everybody's like, well, like, because everybody will kill Bryce Young and be like, oh, they made the wrong decision.
He got no chance.
How good? My thing is, how good is CJ Stroud with the Panthers? Like, okay, he's a little bit better than Bryce Young, but they don't win a lot of games. They don't go to the playoffs. They don't win a division because they team wasn't good enough. They roster wasn't good enough. They receivers wasn't good enough. They ain't had no tight end. Tommy Tremble. Who is that dude? He's playing. He's getting snaps and
they lost the number 1 pick.
Oh yeah, let's see.
They could have traded, and that could have been. They could have stockpiled, even if they don't keep it, and they believe in Bryce Young. They could have. Teams would have traded the Bears, the Commanders would have traded up, and they could have got more picks to surround him with weapons. And guess what? They don't even have that. So they have
they didn't even run an offense that like
look like you
helped
win football games.
It's just they were an absolute.
They have to hope that like he'll bounce back like Jared Goff bounced back after his rookie season, or Eli Manning did. Like, they had really bad rookie years,
but it's tough to do that, especially like when you're a guy like
Eli did it though. Look at those rosters though. Like I know, man. The Panthers.
No, I'm not saying about I'm just saying about the way he looked, because he looked. Bryce Young did not look like the number 1 pick.
Eli was able to still, because they helped him out. Like, hey, we'll help you out. We'll get you a good defense, and we'll get you some good receivers. Like,
they need good coaches. Who's their coach?
I don't even know who they hired.
I don't know his name. I don't even know his name.
Wasn't it the Bucks offensive coordinator?
The Bucks OC. Yeah. I don't know his name.
Yeah, but Danny Canales.
Danny Canal?
Danny Canales.
Canal.
Don't get me started on Canal.
Canal was a Florida State legend.
Canal was a clown, man.
Canal was a Giants quarterback.
Canal was a clown. That dude tapped. Don't get me started on Canal. Like, oh, my girls watch basketball. They don't care about Taylor Swift. Like, you act like your girls gonna sit there and watch, like they're sitting there charting a basketball game, like they ain't on their phone the whole time on IG.
I swear, like, I've never seen so many grown men talk about Taylor Swift so much.
I posted on Facebook.
While also claiming to not give 2 shits about her, but constantly talking about her.
It's true, though. I can't. We watched 2 minute Cialis commercials and Ozempic commercials and Viagra commercials and diaper commercials.
It's all right.
We had Taylor Swift being on for a minute.
It's cool. Like, we need these grown men to be out here. Anyway, I can't. Don't get me started.
Real quick, Mo.
I about got real filthy.
I'm about to. Hey, Mo. Thank you for hopping on. Pleasure, always fun. Hope to see
Mo, man. You've literally dropped the mic on everything you did tonight on our earlier show. This show, like, you were tuned in today.
Hey, man, I was dialed in, man. I've been wanting to talk.
You didn't waste any possessions, Mo. You didn't waste any possessions.
You can't, because you never know how many you got left. But I appreciate y'all for having me, man. But I'm going to get up on out of here and go to bed, man.
We'll see you tomorrow, probably.
All right. Yes, sir.
Mo's killing it tonight.
He was doing good. I couldn't. Never mind.
We were on the OG3, and he was just burning it down. Everything he said. He's dialed in, man. Them gummy bears got him tuned in.
I don't know if he was drunk or.
I said gummy bears. Y'all taken it out of context. No accusations here.
And I kind of wish he would have been on for my biggest disappointment, because it's not even a disappointment for me per se, like me personally, because I've never been a fan of this team. I've never been a fan of this quarterback. But just to look the way they did for the entire season, the Los Angeles Chargers. Yeah. Like we thought this was the year that Justin Herbert finally takes the step and maybe wins a playoff game, or is at least competitive, doesn't blow a 27-point halftime lead. But they just went out and looked like a completely inept offense, and a lot of it, I will concede that a lot of it has to do with that Division III head coach that they had in Brandon Staley and his entire.
That's fitting it too nicely. Like, he might be NIA. He's that bad.
I go say Division III. Them dudes get it.
Yeah,
that's a source. But here in Ohio, Division III is a big deal. We got Mount Union. We got the Purple Raiders, baby.
Yeah. I don't know what
he ain't a Purple Raiders coach.
But the entirety of the team just looked completely inept, like they didn't belong there. And they have a loaded roster. They have a stacked roster on paper. Yeah, they're one of the better teams, not only AFC, but you could argue the NFL.
They're going to be real good day one.
They're going to be the disciplined football team. this year with
Oh,
Harbaugh, no matter what.
They're gonna be real good.
They may not make the playoffs, but they're going to look like a football team this year. That's a guarantee.
They're definitely making the playoffs.
You know, they're going to look a lot better and all that.
The Pittsburgh Steelers made the playoffs this year. The Chargers ain't no, the Chargers.
He's gonna significantly upgrade, and he also we've talked about the Chargers, like not just on the field, but like just their fan support. I think he's gonna.
But it was a waste of a season. Yeah,
like he's gonna bring like a different. We're gonna see more people cheering for the Chargers than they had, because that's, to me, that hurts them all season. Like to go prepare a whole week and then have a home game and to not have a home field advantage. Like, what is it, 18 weeks? There's 17 weeks that you guys play, and
they're the
every game is a road game. Like that sucks. That really does. That's not.
They became the Washington Generals. Like they were the other team every game that everybody came to see the other team every game.
Exactly, and that's not like, I don't know when.
But it was a completely
how many
wasted
teams we
season.
have
wasted
that have how many cities have two teams in a city, and it's not like that. Like, yeah, there might be teams that were 60-40.
But two teams in a city that don't care that much to begin with.
Because how many people really care about? But the Rams is not as bad.
Rams are 2 years removed for a Super Bowl, so they're still kind of holding on to that.
No, that's what I'm saying.
It's still not as bad. Even when it still didn't seem that way on TV. That oh my god, like the other team is. They play San Francisco. It's more like when the San Francisco plays or let's say the Chiefs, when the Raiders play the Chargers, it is a Raiders home game twice a year.
Yeah,
and that's not cool. So I think Harbaugh, and that's probably why the Chargers really want Harbaugh, so he can bring that credibility, so the fan base can show up and hey, so we don't have all black and gray and all Chiefs red and all where else, I forgot the other team in the division, but we can't have away games at home. It's just ridiculous.
But a lot of what's happened with football that's caused a lot of this, and it's not just the Chargers. It's Las Vegas is like that. A lot of stadiums are like that. But what I'm saying is teams don't care if they win anymore, and that is really hurting the NFL. Your team is worth
making money regardless. It's crazy.
Yeah, your team is worth billions of dollars. It don't Mo just talked about Carolina. It don't that dude sells Carolina tomorrow and makes a profit. Everybody's always oh, they sell jerseys. It ain't about all that. It's literally about your stadium. It's about the TV rights, the jersey sales, all that. That's nickels in the bucket. So when you're the Chargers, we're all sitting here banging on the Chargers. If you sold the Chargers tomorrow, they're probably worth over $3 billion. So it's It doesn't matter if you win. It doesn't matter if you lose. But that does start to hurt these teams to where it's just a corporation now. Long as that TV money keeps rolling in, ain't nobody cares.
But it's the fan bases, like you said. There's so much to do in LA that if the team sucks, all right, whatever.
Somebody said it this week, and Cruz, you tell me. I bet you can attest to this because you live there, and this never hit me before. So I don't know. Have you ever lived in the Midwest or on the East Coast? I can't remember.
I lived in Columbus for 3 years.
Yeah, but for a while.
Yeah.
So you remember how gray winter is?
Oh yeah.
And so somebody they were talking to an LA sports fan, and they're the difference is it's so hard to live and die with your team because your game's over at 1 p.m. Your game's over.
Yeah.
And guess what? You can go outside and play Frisbee. You can go get some ice cream. You can take the dog for a walk. You don't have to sit there in the dark for the next 5 hours and be miserable about your team losing. You can literally just get over it.
Yeah, because you have the beaches and all that. If the Giants play at 8:00, it's all right, and they're getting smoked by the Dallas Cowboys by the first quarter, and it's you're
just there.
And then it's cold.
It's 6 o'clock. It's 30
it's
degrees. It's dark out. And
you're you know what?
And so they said that, but they were saying even if they were a fan of an
and
East
being
Coast
on West
team,
Coast time over there,
but they lived on West Coast
9,
time.
10,
yeah, they're let's say for Cruz, for instance, the Commanders lose, but it's 1 p.m. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna go out and get in the ocean.
You have the whole day.
It's hard to. it's hard to be miserable.
Yeah, it is.
Good game.
You have the whole day to like.
That doesn't mean
that
does not mean that you don't care as much why the game's
Yeah.
on or any of that. It just means that you're not as miserable.
Just be sad
as the
in
rest of the
waves.
country.
Well, this
Is that true, Cruz?
Is 100% true. When the Commanders came to
sense.
LA and played the Rams, I think at halftime, I went to go play golf. I went and played around the golf because I was like, you know, why am I going to be stuck in this house?
And I probably scraped my windshield.
Probably.
I probably heated up my truck. Like,
you know what? That's probably why like
thing.
Midwest, like in like college, especially like college football, it's so popular because like, you know, when the game's over, it's like it's cold and it's like
I think a lot of it is weather. I really do think a lot of
it is that's why, like, for instance, like Miami Hurricanes, like that's why we don't get crowds that much because it's like
absolutely
the team's 7
and 6.
Because
you got other
games
shit
over
to
at
do.
4. Guess what? There's a whole strip of bars and beautiful women and beaches. Why are we going to soak over losing of not kneeling the ball? Let's just go to the bar and drink and get some gapes.
Yeah,
I get why Miami doesn't have crowds. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think the Chargers can ever overcome that, but I don't think it's a negative. I just think that they have more.
Harbaugh's
like
going to help at least with bringing fans to feel more to have hope because like when they had Homie. It's just like, yo, we're gonna blow this game. We're gonna lose this game. So Harbaugh gives you credibility. He's gonna make you feel like, all right, we have a chance because he just won the national championship. That team, that school was in the dumps. Like he might have got fired, and he brought them back up the last 3 years and won a chance. We saw.
Oh, you mean he might have got fired if he didn't forfeit a game? Remember that?
You know, so like it gives them
or
hope
cheat.
And like,
remember all that? What if he'll be allowed to cheat? Because that helps.
I wonder if he's bringing his own camera crew.
Yeah. Like, wonder if he's allowed to
his
cheat.
His son just got hired.
That's definitely going to help.
Yeah, UW, right?
Yeah, he got UW job.
No.
Oh, that was Belichick. That was Belichick.
Belichick's son got.
Harbaugh got some job. Seahawks. Yeah.
Seahawks. What's good for him?
Belichick can be gone in 1 year.
We don't need more Harbaughs. Like, let's stop this.
I think Harbaugh.
Which Harbaugh is that? Jim or John?
We're full. It's Jim's.
That's Jim's.
Jim looks like he looks older than his dad. Sorry, that man is older than his dad.
That motherfucker has to deal with an Ohio State Michigan game once a year. You would
stressful.
You think you're bald now?
You have to deal with being.
If I was the Ohio State quarterback right now, I mean head coach, man, I have a unibrow.
Imagine going 3-5 against your rival.
I wouldn't want to be a college coach.
Imagine going 3-5 against your rival. That's crazy.
Being a college coach is miserable. I don't know why.
That's your Chargers coach. 3-5 against these. I hope he goes 3-5 against Kansas City.
See, Jeff, that makes sense. But what I've been told is only championships matter. The rest of the stuff doesn't matter. Just championships.
You know what though?
He has one of those.
You know what though? It didn't matter for 10 years until they won one. And then all of a sudden, that's all that mattered.
Oh, Jeff.
I'm just saying.
Jeff's scoring. He's scoring. I feel the same with Florida State won the national championship.
So just a quick point. The Chargers currently are ranked 25th in terms of value at $4.15 billion.
Billion.
And
that's the worst fan base in the league.
Top
4 billion.
Top 5 right now. Obviously, the Dallas Cowboys at a whopping $9 billion.
Oh my!
Commanders are up there.
Patriots at $7 billion. Rams right beneath them at 6.9. Giants at 6.8. Bears at 6.3. Commanders are at 8. What's at 6.05?
But doesn't this prove my point? The Bears are 5th.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
They
it does not matter. It does not matter.
The Bears are like the Knicks. The Bears are like the Knicks. They just have that aura about them. Like
they're one of the original teams.
They're one of the original teams. They're playing the oldest stadium in football, right? Yeah. Or one of the oldest stadiums.
Yeah, but it's been rebuilt. That thing looks brand new if you go in there. Like I've been there. It's like brand new. It's nice.
The Jets are 7th at 6.1.
A lot of it's about your stadium and shit like that too, like your facilities.
Trash.
Like your facilities.
Your stadium, Cruz. Y'all need a new stadium desperately.
We put it. Oh no, you're talking about Cruz. I think he's talking about Miami. I was like, we got an old ass stadium, but we put a 10 over it, so now everybody's like, oh, that's cool.
Yours looks all right.
We literally put a pop up tent over our stadium.
You did. And it looks like a pop up tent. It really does.
Currently at 32nd. is the Cincinnati Bengals, who are 2 years
Really?
ago from a Super Bowl.
They don't have nothing.
It's
They don't have
because
any practice.
They don't
They don't
have
put
an
money into
indoor
their
facility.
franchise.
I heard stories about their practice, I think
Bro.
AJ Hawk. He talked about him on Pat Show because
It's
he was there for a
terrible.
year.
They don't spend
He
money.
said they were all that's cheap.
Yeah.
That's bad,
Bro, they do like I'm telling you what, like I don't know why Burrow signed with them. I really don't. Like they're not going to spend money on anything else but him.
Well,
It's
I
going
think
to
they
be
are
a dumpster fire.
building an indoor facility that should be done.
I mean,
by
it's
this.
frigid there. They should.
Yeah, but what they won't keep their wide receivers. They won't keep the offensive
They're all
linemen.
gone. Higgins and Boyd are gone. I think.
The Brown family is all about literally just how much the team's worth. Because see, that's the thing about the Brown family is like that's their income. Like they're like the Lakers.
Okay.
Like they don't have that. They don't have Microsoft money
Steinbrenners
coming
too,
in.
Yeah, it's like the Steinbrenners too. They don't have.
Yeah,
People think the Steinbrenners are like loaded, but it's like they just have the Yankees. Like
they're not compared to other owners.
Same
right.
with Al Davis or the Davis family.
Davis, the
they're like
Rooneys
the
are
poor
getting like
owners.
Yeah.
The poor owner, the brokies.
Oh, boy,
they don't like
boy.
Ballmer money. Like Ballmer has infinity money.
Yeah,
Like stupid money.
exactly.
Like you could build like you see the new arena with the Clippers, like it's insane. Like it's just not real. It shouldn't be real.
Yeah.
But when you have money like that, when you have endless money, you can do whatever you want. But the Commander
the Patriots kind of surprised me.
winning. And Kraft has money like that, right? He's not like
Yeah, but winning doesn't really trade. Like it doesn't. There's what you
they've
get.
been
Like,
marketable.
but what I'm saying is,
for
like,
Brady.
if I buy the Patriots, like, I don't get those Super Bowls. Like,
but they
wonder
build
what
up, I guess,
They
over
did those
20
banners,
years.
bro.
The banners,
Yeah.
6 banners with Brady. And Brady, they had some popular, like Gronk was popular and Brady was popular. So that I guess that helps.
A lot of marketability you could.
Especially
yeah, but you
Brady.
don't. What I'm
Brady
saying
is-
is, like, you don't.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, you're not
if
taking
you're-
over that because they're
if-
gone. Yeah, I get
if
that.
you're
It's
selling
it's
a
like the Knicks,
car-
though, Jeff. It's like the Knicks. Like the Knicks are number one, and like there's not a lot of marketability with that. Even with the players they have now with Brunson, and they're not market. But
Well, that
in
could
New
have a lot
York,
to do
they have
with
the
being in New
Garden.
York alone.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like
Yeah.
it's,
Oh, yeah,
it's just,
I get
sometimes it's
that.
just everything around it is what and like.
But what I'm
When
saying
he-
is, like, the Cleveland Cavaliers aren't worth as much as the Knicks, but the Cleveland Cavaliers have won more recently.
Well, we're worth more
Like
than
the winning
Warriors.
really don't. The
It's
winning
crazy.
really doesn't matter that
It
much.
doesn't matter. It's just location. We're literally in the heart of New York City. The Garden is
Oh
literally.
no, I get the Knicks.
know,
That's what I'm
hard,
saying.
so,
Like
like,
that's what I
that
get. But
helps.
the Patriots
Yeah.
ones kind of confuses me a little bit.
I guess.
But
the
who,
winning
you don't know
form
what a
helps.
team has. Like you don't know what their assets are. You don't know what they own.
Gillette. I'm sure Gillette
And-
helps them having Gillette.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
There's
I-
just a
and
lot
I
of factors,
think-
but being in Boston too. I mean, Boston's a big
Think
market.
they completely
kind
own
of.
their stadium? I know for a fact the
They
Vikings
might
They
own the
might.
stadium, so, yeah.
They might.
That's another
Like,
factor
you
too. If
gotta
you own the
think-
stadium.
You got to think the concerts, any concerts that are there, or any events. If you own the stadium,
See, I
outright,
do
so
think
it's
I
all
think
your
that factors
property.
in a lot. I
That's
think that
then,
factors in a
yeah,
lot.
yeah.
Well, that's the thing about LA. I mean, that's kind of like doesn't Jerry Jones basically like kind of own
Own
that
it.
stadium?
And he approved it, right? He approved that stadium.
He got
didn't
it. No,
Wasn't he
no,
like
he's part. Like he's involved. Like he's got.
he's
like,
involved
he got
in
it
a lot.
built.
I
Jerry Jones gets a
Right?
lot of.
I remember him being a factor in that. Why
He's
they
a
got
big
their,
factor.
their relocation.
Yeah.
he was a big
I
part.
think
Of
it
that.
was something like the Chargers are basically fronting the bill, and Kroenke only pays like $1
Oh,
a
Kroenke's
year.
the owner
crazy.
too. Yeah, Kroenke owns
It's
the team.
crazy. The
They
Chargers are.
straight
That's right.
finesse
Doesn't
the
Kroenke
Chargers.
own the Nuggets too? Or am I thinking of a different guy? Or did he used to? He used to. I, mean, I don't know. I don't know if Kroenke's still the owner of the Nuggets. I could be wrong. I knew he used to own the Nuggets. I don't know if he's still the owner, but he has
The
crazy money
The
too.
Nuggets are a basketball team, Cruz.
That
I
chicken.
watch basketball every now and
Wait,
again.
are you implying that he thought about chicken nuggets?
No.
Are you Samoan?
Cruz,
That's Samoan
Cruz-
Rob?
Cruz don't want to talk NBA. Anyway, let's talk some more NFL. Let's do this. Another one more topic. We got one more.
He
in this.
owns the Nuggets and the Avalanche. But
How do you own these mother?
Crazy. That's when you have stupid money. Where you're like, you know, I'm just gonna buy
that's when
like
you have
Monopoly
fuck-
money. You
They
have
have
Monopoly
fuck you
money.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Ballmer can own probably every.
He could
Team
own the
in the NBA.
leagues.
He can own. The
Well, they've
leagues.
talked about it, didn't they? Say that Amazon could buy the NFL. They've talked about it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Could
Bezos is
buy
not
the
gonna buy-
NFL.
Like Bezos buying a team, he's not going to buy a team. He's just going to buy the whole league.
They said he could buy the NFL.
Oh, he could.
So since Jeff wants to get in
and pay everyone too.
He wouldn't do that. But since Jeff wants to get on top of it, I kind of wanted to save until Saturday for our.
Well, no, we can wait. Just come up with any other topic.
But I really want to talk about it though, because I got into
let's do it
with somebody at work. If Mahomes wins on Sunday, where do you put him in your GOAT conversation?
Mount Rushmore or GOAT?
GOAT.
He's creeping.
If he wins Sunday,
he gets closer. He gets close. He gets the closest a current player could get.
Yeah, I agree.
I
still put him.
He's still behind because he still has so much. There's still so many years left.
I'll put him 2 because I will with all give Brady the respect that I saw him do it for 20 plus years. That does mean something to me. Like to do it over in your 40s means something.
The Super Bowl with the Bucs helps him too, Brady.
Yeah, because I already know he's better than Montana.
And he beat Mahomes.
I already know he's better than Elway. I already know he's better than Rodgers. I already know he's better than Favre. Like I've seen all this, but
Montana is he 3 right now with Montana? If he wins?
I can't. Like I know he's better than. I don't know. I know he's as good as Brady was on any given season, but I can't. I'm not going to disrespect Brady that did it for a solid 2 decades, not like spaced out. Like he did it for 2 decades. That would be ludicrous.
What about Peyton? Where is he? Does he pass Peyton Manning?
Oh yeah, he's better. Yeah, he's better.
Yeah, I think he has already.
You think he passed?
He already has.
He's already. Does
he pass him because of the playoffs? Because Brady, Manning
better.
Didn't have great
playoffs. Peyton's second Super Bowl had nothing to do with Peyton.
Well, forget about just the second Super Bowl. Like overall, like he had a lot of duds.
So here's the conversation I had, and
that is a good question.
Right, if he wins on Sunday, I have him ahead of Brady in the GOAT. I think he will, in my opinion, my humble opinion, cement himself as the greatest quarterback of all time. And here's why. Because you look at the players themselves. So first of all, to make 6 conference championship games
in a row
in your first 6 seasons as a starter, crazy.
Stupid.
You win 4 of those.
Jeez.
It's fucking ridiculous. Now, if you go on and win a 3rd Super Bowl, and the only person you lost to is the person who a lot of people will say is above you, that's one thing. To put in his skill set, the type of quarterback he is far more talented, athletic than Brady ever was.
But that's the thing is, how do we decipher that? Are we going to go by talent? Because then that's different. That's a whole different game then. If we're going to go with talent and that.
I think you have to take it into consideration because that's what a lot of people say. Like a lot of people say, "Oh, Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback I've ever seen play because he's so much more athletic, but he doesn't have the accolades." Mahomes has the athleticism, has the IQ, has the playability, and is also racking up the accolades. So, and the comparison I gave him, because then he hit me with he's in Andy Reid's system. Like,
oh no,
that's
the weakest argument anyone can make. A system.
It is.
Did you fight him immediately?
Such a weak argument.
That's my boy. I can't fight him, and I was on watch, so I couldn't do that while I was on watch. But what I said was, you look at Alex Smith was in that same exact system, and who would you equate Tom Brady's skill set to? More Alex Smith type, or more Patrick Mahomes? Just in the sense that he's obviously not a running.
But every quarterback plays in a system. It's literally literally what an offense is called. Ain't no quarterback I heard.
Joe Montana played in the system. Dan Marino.
Joe Montana played in
here. He played in the system.
Joe Montana played in the system.
Yeah.
He's the most consistent quarterback of all time.
Out here going down on one knee, getting a stick and drawing a play in the dirt. Like
Terry Bradshaw had 4 plays. He would admit that. He had 4 plays. That's it. Terry Bradshaw.
The system thing is kind of like with quarterbacks is like it's tires. And some people say that and don't even know what it really means because it's a narrative that like gets thrown around a lot. So like when people say, "Oh, his system," I was like, "Oh, explain the system then."
Right.
No, I always say
explain the
this. I always say
system,
this.
and then we can have a conversation. Because you don't know the system, because you're just saying that because other people say that.
No,
so
his system.
Explain the system to me, and then we can talk.
Yeah, he has really good quarterbacks and takes advantage. It's I always said this. It's like a chef. It's like a really, really good chef. But I give him all the greatest ingredients. His meal is going to knock your socks off. It's because of the combination of the two.
Yeah.
You gave a good chef the best ingredients. You don't say like, oh, those are system ingredients. Like, no, or it's a system chef. Like, no, it's like Andy
It's
Reid.
system salt for the pizza.
You gave a smart.
Imagine critiquing like a chef, like Jeff, like you just said. Imagine critiquing a chef the way we critique quarterback. You know what? That food, it's just from Brooklyn.
That's a system meal.
He works in Gordon Ramsay's restaurant. Of course, he's gonna make great.
If you put this pizza system in Cincinnati, it doesn't work. It's the stupidest thing.
I was it's the combination of the two. Like, and I have no I totally agree. And here's what thing: if Rodgers would have like not choked away like all those games and won 3 Super Bowls, I was sitting there telling you right now that Rodgers. I couldn't. I know it's hard. It's hard to believe that there was a point in my life I couldn't wait to say Rodgers was.
When did he win the Super Bowl? What year did he? His second
10, right?
Oh, 2011 season.
So his second, what is his third year as a starter? Because he was the first 3 years he was a backup, right?
Right.
So
he was his first year as a starter.
So his second year as a starter, he won a Super Bowl. You would have thought Aaron Rodgers was going to be the greatest of all time. Oh, yeah, right? He was on that path, and then he.
I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to tell you that, and it didn't happen.
That's why with Patrick. I can't yet.
Patrick's done it.
I can't plan.
Like if this dude goes 3-1 and plays good, like I don't want him to look. He has to look. He has to win the game Sunday. I will say that, which I think he will. Like he has to win the game.
He passes a lot of people with this. He passes a lot.
Let's say,
but what he's done in his playoffs already.
We
just talked about it earlier. He just mowed down 2 MVPs. Just mowed him down. Like, that's all good.
This playoff run helps him a lot. This playoff run helps him a lot, though, because this is the one playoff run where his team was not the favorite. Because everyone said, right, we always talk about it. This is their worst team. The wide receivers cost them 2-3 games this season. Mm-hmm. You know, the offensive line was not as good. You know, like I said, Kelsey was injured and all that. You know, the defense was good this year, but no names and all that. You know, so it was like, oh, maybe this isn't it. So this might be his greatest if he wins it, you know, against a good team too. That's a good football team to play. I don't want to give away too many predictions. I think this might be the one to where he's like, Tom Brady never did this. Tom Brady, like, well, I guess sort of against the Chiefs. They played that was a kind that
of
was the only time Brady has won convincingly.
I can see Patrick. I can see Patrick putting up 300 yards, 35 points, and being like, I
can see them dominating too.
Y'all need
I don't know why.
Like, I saw, like, I keep saying this. I saw this with Jordan. We had the same discussion. Everybody was like, Jordan, we know Jordan's the best player, but Russell, but Abdul-Jabbar, but Magic Johnson, all this until Jordan won. Like after he won the 3 in a row, the first 3 in a row, combined, like Cruz says, combined with the talent. That's when we were like,
is back to back too, right?
Oh, he's the
back to back since the Patriots, right?
Yeah. If he goes back to back with this team and after this playoff run, this will be 4 playoff wins.
But now let's flip it though. What if Brock Purdy outplays him though? What if he doesn't Nick Foles? What if he doesn't Nick Foles? What if he not Nick Foles?
Hold on, let me pose this question real quick. What's going to be my next question? So let's say Sunday night we all get on here and we're talking about Patrick Mahomes being 2-2 in Super Bowls, but playing absolutely fucking lights out, but Brock Purdy just does something special.
I think we have to wait another year. I think we got to wait another year.
Well, look at Brady when Brady played when Brady and Foles went together. Brady threw for 6 billion yards and all, but nobody talked about it because he lost to a backup quarterback. So nobody cared how great, because Brady hit the most yards ever, but nobody cares because he lost to a backup quarterback. So if Mahomes loses to a 7th round pick, the last Mr. Irrelevant, that's all we heard about, right?
That's fair. No, it's
Mr.
fair.
Irrelevant, right? Nobody's going to care. He can throw for 700 yards, 7 touchdowns, but guess what? If they lose, he lost to a 7th round the last pick in the round. Nobody's going to care.
I think he's on pause until he wins the next one. Like he's on pause.
So
but then because the next one he'll win, will be his 5th Super Bowl. It'll be his 3rd win, assuming he keeps playing at the level he is. But Chris is right, man. That discussion is tabled no matter what. If they
doesn't
lose
matter how
Sunday
good
night.
he plays, because nobody remembers how good a lot of these quarterbacks played who lost and all that. But it all that matters is you winning the football game.
Yeah,
you
like nobody remembers
150. Like Brady won 2 Super Bowl MVPs with 170 yards passing. You know, Eli Manning did the same thing. So like you have to. It's all about winning.
If you ask somebody real quick, nobody remembers that Brett Favre got to 2 in a row. Like nobody remembers that,
and was a heavy favorite in one of them.
Yeah. But nobody remembers. Everybody's like, oh, he won one. Like he went to 2 in a row. Like ain't nobody.
And the second one, they were supposed to be. They were at the time. It was the highest spread for underdog before the Patriots did it. A couple years after, and then the Giants did it. So like people you have to win. He has to win. You can't lose to a Brock Purdy because that's beneath you. You can't lose. And listen, we all know quarterback. It's a stupid comparison because you're not playing against him. But this is the world we live in, right? We live in this. Yep. Tom Brady when they get lost to a backup quarterback, and that's all people are going to remember.
We don't know
not that he dominated the Eagles defense, but he lost to the backup quarterback. That's all.
Just think about what we did. Think about what we did when Shaq and Kobe lost to Detroit. We reset the entire franchise and their careers when they lost to Detroit. No, we forgot about the forgot about the 3P.
Retired, Peyton
forgot about the 3P. But I'm saying like we reset it. Like we stopped right there and we're like, well, nothing matters now until then it took almost, by the end of the decade, they had both got another one and we reset it. So like
they had to separate though. And with the Chiefs, remember,
like if
Kelsey's older, Kelsey's 34, 35. Like we talk about the offensive line. It's they still gonna have Andy Reid. That's another wild card. We don't know how long he's gonna coach. There's always every year we hear like, oh, he might retire. Now you got 15. I would still you coach as long as humanly possible. But
he's a
bigger guy.
This San Francisco, this would be number 6, right? Like that's a big deal.
No, that there will be them and the Patriots and the Steelers have
the
5
Steelers.
Or 6.
Steelers
have 6.
Yeah, because they both when they paid so 3 franchises.
This is a big deal. Like you
Shanahan
guys
too.
You guys are a little younger, but I grew up in a time to where like San Francisco felt like they won every Super Bowl.
Kyle Shanahan, and I want to say some of this for Saturday, but Kyle Shanahan has to win this game.
I agree. He has to.
This is a must win outside of obviously it's a Super Bowl, it's the last game of the season, but just for his legacy and how pundits look at him, especially how me personally, how I would look at him, this is a must win for him.
Because think about his last 2 Super Bowls, as an OC and as a head coach, right? He blew a 10-point lead in the Super Bowl to Patrick Mahomes. And then we all know what happened 7 years ago when he had a 28-3 lead and they lost. So like this is huge, because he keeps getting passes, and we talked about this preseason. The passes he gets, there's no more pass. We can't use the Brock Purdy 7th round pick though. That's not a pass. You don't get that no more. You in the Super Bowl, buddy. So you have to take care of business. Both teams. I don't know.
The whole, here's
but San Francisco got a lot of pressure to win. I tell you something. They got all pros too, all over the place too. So like they got to get it done.
Yeah, I did something that really bugs me, and it's a combination of NFL, college football fan. This whole thing, like we can't get past when you're drafted, because it doesn't work both ways. Because let's say we talked about the Steelers earlier. Let's say the Steelers would go to the Super Bowl with Kenny Pickett. I would say that was harder than what the San Francisco has done. But nobody would go. They went to the Super Bowl, the 1st round pick, Kenny Pickett. Like the dude is awful. Just because he got picked in the 1st round, like I don't understand. Like the
Bears went to the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman as the 1st round.
What I'm saying is the scouts missed on Purdy. I don't know how long we have to keep reliving this. You know what I mean? Like
it's a good story though, Jeff. That's why
I don't know why we can't reset. But after year 1, you got to reset and move on with like where they are at that point. Like
I think we're past that. I think we're past that. Like the 7th round pick. Like it's.
But I mean, I don't know. I don't know why we can't also.
Football.
I don't know why we also can't. You know what? Same with Jalen Hurts. I've said it all year. Like we're past him getting overlooked in the draft. We're past him being a 3rd or 4th round pick, whatever it was. He got his contract. He's getting paid to be one of the best players. Now I need him criticized. Like you criticize Josh Allen, criticize Lamar Jackson, criticize Dak Prescott. Like I need the same, instead of being like, well, like at what point do we get to reset? Is it just contracts? Like once Purdy gets paid, then we can erase it.
Well, that's usually what happens though. Once you get paid, now you get criticized. It's how it works in all sports. Once you get paid, now you look differently. It's just how it works and all that. But like
I get
Brock Purdy's established himself enough.
Because because at the end of the day, as we established earlier, all these owners care about is the bottom line, and it's all about getting the best value. So right now, Brock Purdy is looked at like a 7th round pick. He's the best value.
That's ridiculous the best value in the NFL.
And then once you get paid, now you're expected to play not only up to that contract, but surpass it because again, it's the value. And if he doesn't, all right, you're no longer a value to me. Now you're a liability. You're hindering. You're less.
And that window for the 49ers, I don't know if it's that big that maybe because Kittle's always very banged up. The offensive line is kind of getting old.
Yeah, but the way Kyle Shanahan is able to put together that roster.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, then you got to pay him. So, like, you have a year, this year, next year to figure it out, So, like, it's going to be interesting. Do you pay? That's another thing. Do you even pay him? Do you think he's the guy?
I mean, this dude has taken Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy to a Super Bowl. I mean, do we really need to?
But eventually, how long can you keep going that route before you like, oh man, these guys aren't giving us? Like if what if Brock Purdy does exactly what Garoppolo did and misses throws and last drives and is the reason why he misses on some throws and is the reason why you don't win a Super Bowl? Do you keep being like, oh well, it's good value, And it's like, when are we going to be like, well, we can get to Super Bowl.
You learn from your mistake, your Trey Lance mistake, and you rely on your scout team. Say, hey, let's not trade up for somebody who.
They're lucky they're so stacked that because they would get killed if any other team does that and misses that bad, they would get crucified. But since they have all pros literally through every position, even multiple all pros that they made up, and now they can plug in Purdy. Just don't make the big mistakes. But what if he makes the big mistakes and costs you Super Bowl? What do you do now? Because he still is a 7th round pick. So it's like, all right, we don't have. Damn. Maybe this is why he was a 7th round pick. Maybe because everything did go well. We have all the pieces, everything worked. But when we need him to make the play like Mahomes can do, what Brady can do, he can't do that. And that's what we're missing. So what do you do then? When you legit have a team that could win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but Purdy has done it. Purdy's literally the reason they're in the Super Bowl.
No. I'm saying, what if he doesn't make that play?
I don't think he panics. I don't think he panic.
I think you give him another year
because you're going to win now. No, you have an older team.
Mahomes looked terrible against Tampa Bay. Like you don't cut Mahomes.
That offensive line. Patrick Mahomes was running,
and he didn't have his left tackle.
Yeah, it was a terrible game plan. Mahomes didn't make everything. Just went bad. What I'm saying is you don't restart. You're just like,
but Purdy's not Mahomes though.
Right?
Purdy's not Mahomes though.
And again,
listen, Purdy. Listen, you saw that throw. He doesn't have the skills that Mahomes could get away with a lot of stuff.
No.
Purdy, you saw that throw. The one that hit the dude in the face mask, that should have been an interception, but they just bounced their way. So like there's natural gifts that he just doesn't have that he can't overcome. When you need to make a play that Mahomes can. Garoppolo went through the same shit too. He couldn't. He just didn't have enough talent.
I think Purdy
doesn't have it. Mahomes does. That's why Mahomes is like this.
Well, yeah.
So if they lose because Purdy can't make some of the throws that elite quarterbacks can make, big time throws, right? Cruz, you know what it is. Big time throws in Super Bowl. Brady's made and all that. Yeah. Then what? Because you are in a win now mode. If you're Shanahan, you have a win now team. Do you? I'm just saying, like. You might have to because
the questions are right.
Paying this dude $40 million, $50 million, and then the rest of your team is going to get sacrificed. We know that, and it's is he that dude that can carry this team? Even like Mahomes, we know he can. He lost Tyreek Hill, he lost this guy, that guy, and in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So like,
but you can't. you got to compare Purdy to someone more realistic, like Herbert, Burrow. Like you can't compare him to Mahomes.
But if Burrow had this team, we'd be talking about them being 14 points.
Burrow would walk through this game.
He would walk through
Burrow
this
would
team.
walk through this game with this
Burrow
roster.
would be
That's
10-point favorites versus Chiefs team.
Yeah,
Herbert would be favored because Herbert is gifted. We know he can make. He just had
I see where you're coming
you put
from.
You put Herbert with Andy Reid. Oh my goodness, he might be the
wrap.
greatest quarterback ever.
That's fair.
But we're talking about Brock Purdy and all that. You know,
that's fair.
He has limitations. A lot of limitations.
If his limitations show up, because it's easy. We see it every year. It's easy to go 14-2, 12 and whatever during the regular season when half of your schedule is bums.
Playing the Giants, you playing the Commanders.
But
once, be real, you play good.
Let's be fair though. Purdy did have like basically the best quarterback season of any quarterback. Like this guy isn't like he's also got the stats.
Right.
Like
no. He absolutely
Purdy's air yards, Purdy's total yards.
I'm not denying that he's not a solid quarterback.
He can't ball out.
We're talking about that next level.
But so here's a perfect example. One of my favorite clips ever after the last Chiefs-Niners Super Bowl, right? There was a play. It was 3rd and I want to say 13. Patrick Mahomes goes to Eric Reid or Aaron, either Reid or Bieniemy, and first thing he says is, "Do we have enough time to make this throw?" It was a route that he wanted Tyreek Hill to run across the field and move up. He wanted to make sure he had enough time, and he threw it off his back foot and launched. I think it was like a 50, 60-yard throw.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the big-time plays that
agreed
only certain quarterbacks can make. Yes, if Brock Purdy has a clean pocket, he can make pretty much any throw that Patrick Mahomes can make. I agree to that. I'll concede to that. Well, games on the line, big games on the line, championship playoff games on the line, and you have to throw off your back
but I think the conversation I'm having though is, okay, we know he's not Mahomes, but how far down the list before you change quarterbacks? You guys are talking about like
it. I think it would. Well, it would depend on what your options are.
I mean, he's Dak Prescott, right? He's Dak Prescott, right? He's that good.
No, Dak's better. I still think Dak's better. Dak has a better arm. I just think Dak is in a situation. He's in Dallas, so everything gets scrutinized probably way more than even though I love that they fail, but like sometimes it is unfair at times because he is a good quarterback.
But Purdy's okay.
Still to have Dak Prescott as a quarterback. If the 49ers had Dak Prescott right now,
Purdy's better than Tua. He's better than Tua.
I don't know.
The Dolphins would be a better team with Purdy at quarterback. Trust me.
I don't think. Respectfully, I do not agree with that.
I don't know. I don't know how good Purdy really is. I don't know if he's better than some of the bottom tier quarterbacks.
Purdy's a Derek Carr.
Okay, that's fine. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to change quarterback, like if you're going to give up, like you better have an answer.
Yes. But again,
you better have Matt Stafford.
That's why I said it depends on what your options are.
If they have Matt Stafford right now,
depends on what your options are. Just like when Washington was thinking about paying Kirk Cousins, I was a vocal proponent of pay him because what else do we have? I don't trust anybody in the draft. And then you want to go get Alex Smith. I'm like, okay, sure.
But what I'm saying is that we keep saying that if San Francisco had, insert quarterback here, they would beat Kansas City. But yet we just saw Kansas City beat Baltimore, a team who kicked the dog shit out of San Francisco.
True.
With the MVP. We just saw Kansas City beat the MVP in their house. Like, so why do we assume that like that the difference is like, if they had a little better, like we're acting like Kansas City's.
We're just gonna have to wait and see.
We just saw Kansas City. Why are we forgetting that Kansas City beat the best offense in the league? They went to Buffalo and beat Josh Allen. Then they went to Baltimore and beat a healthy Baltimore team. But we're acting like if San Francisco just had a little better quarterback, they'd walk through them. I think
have 15, and he's the difference, Jeff. I
think Kansas City's got a good team.
It doesn't matter.
Kansas City's got a good
49ers have every. If we're talking about the 49ers, to me, position wise, overall, they are.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is
but the one position
we assume that San Francisco
they don't have.
Okay, so here's what I'm saying. Here's my point. we would also sit here and say if San Francisco had Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, they would win. And yet Kansas City just beat those two quarterbacks. We watched it.
Okay, so right. But look,
maybe Kansas City's just good.
But
no. So look at.
But I'm saying Purdy might be really good.
He might,
right,
and still lose is what I'm saying, and still lose.
Right. Could, but what I think what I'm trying to say is, so I look at it as more of like in golf when Tiger Woods was on his stretch. You're always betting. You're betting Tiger Woods. You're betting the field. You look at what Lamar Jackson is to his team versus with everything around him. You would say Lamar Jackson is a bigger percentage, a bigger factor,
for sure,
to the team as a whole than the rest of the other 10 guys on offense. Brock Purdy, you could argue, is less than the other 10 guys on that offense. Now you flop them. You put Lamar Jackson with all his abilities, his running, his throwing, on a team like San Francisco. Yeah. Just like we said with Joe Burrow.
But what I'm saying is, you say that, but wait a minute. The implication is that San Francisco is better. We just saw Baltimore beat the shit out of San Francisco. It wasn't close. They weren't a quarterback away. They were every position away. And Kansas City just beat that team.
But you could say that the Niners are a quarterback away. If Brock Purdy doesn't get the job done, they are a quarterback away because they have the all-pro receivers. They have the all-pro left tackle. They have the all-pro running back. They have one of the greatest offensive minds at head coach / GM, because I think he's the one making the personnel decisions for that team. You're missing that big play quarterback.
Yeah, but how many teams aren't? How many teams aren't better with Mahomes or Allen? Like, of course.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, I don't know. I don't know. What I'm saying is, I don't know if the whole team of San Francisco is as good. I don't think they're as good as you guys think they are.
Listen, maybe I'm overrating the San Francisco 49ers. Maybe
we could be.
We could be overrating them. I just think they're really good.
I've watched them. I don't think their second. I don't think their secondary is as good as
I thought they were a better team, the best team in football.
Fred Warner is awesome. Like the inside linebackers are top notch.
The best running back in football. They have maybe the best.
But the defensive line hasn't got home. The Chase Young deal has.
Oh no, they've been disappointing. And they've been lucky. They're lucky that they're even in the Super Bowl.
The Pack. I just saw the Pack. Here's what I saw. I saw that Green Bay Packers beat up the 49ers and should have won the game. That's what I saw. And I saw the Detroit Lions kick the shit out of the 49ers for
they had the talent to make up for that. And listen, some fluky plays went their way too, but they had the talent and the Lions gave them the game.
You're right.
But
you're right.
They have so much talent that they can overcome that. But can they do it against 15?
No, I would call it a Lions choke. I don't think that the 49ers overcame that. I think the Lions, like the fumble, the drop passes, like that wasn't talent though.
Where it bounces up, it's like wow, like that's
not
that's fluky. And all that. But
I
could overrate the 49ers. I think they're good. So good.
I think their offense, at least their offense, is good enough to get in a shootout with anybody and win.
But at the end of the day,
I think they're real good, but I'm just saying, like, I just got to go by what I saw.
I get you. I know. I get what you're saying. And I completely understand that point. But
and I just saw the Chiefs roll through 3 really good teams.
No. And that makes, I get you, because the Ravens, but I don't think the Ravens were as good as, I didn't think they were as good as they were, to be honest. And I'm not a true, like, I'm with Rob. I'm not a true, like, Lamar Jackson, like, true. I used to be. But I don't think he can be that guy, So yeah, it's cool he won MVP and all that, but that's regular season and all that. He could do it, but he hasn't shown it, and he doesn't get the criticism isn't there. It's like, and that's a whole different story. I won't get too deep into that Lamar Jackson stuff, but because I think it's a lot deeper. Why people don't criticize him, but yeah, I didn't think the Ravens were as good as they were on paper and stuff. So
yeah, and they beat the 49ers.
And they beat the brakes off them.
And beat the brakes off the Lions, who beat the brakes off of the 49ers. Like,
but it's football. Sometimes football's weird like that. I mean,
well, that's true. I also said earlier this week that once you get past the championship game, the conference championship games, none of it matters. It's like the Super Bowl is like a new season.
It really is because it just isn't.
Yep.
Like, it's just it's.
There's going to be
fresh.
somebody.
0-0.
There's going to be somebody Sunday night that we don't know their name, and he's going to look like the best player.
There's going to be a David
NFL.
Tyree that just has a moment.
Yep.
And it seems like it always happens. Malcolm Smith, Malcolm Butler. There's always that guy like who. Like David, I always think with David Tyree, like if you ever watch like the NFL film stuff, he's like he was dropping everything in practice. He was a special teams player and makes the play of the Super Bowl. You know, or like, you know, it happens every Super Bowl. We're
play
like,
of the century. It's a play of the century. I don't care what anybody says.
Every year we see that. So, you know, I hope Brock Purdy has his moment and he proves us all wrong and makes us all look stupid. But he has to show us because he's had moments like that play against the line that should have won. That's an interception. But it just the football gods just worked in his way for that moment. Maybe he's having that run where it just everything is going his way, and hopefully, I hope he gets $200 million from them and all that. Good for him.
Oh yeah.
I want him. Being a seventh-round quarterback, you have no shot. You have no shot to be a starter. No, you're on practice squad. You're bouncing around practice squad. You're getting cut every other week. You know, you're bouncing around, and like that's not fun. Who the hell? That's why they always quit early. 7th-round picks, but he made the best of it. So you know, it's a good story and all that. But I got to see him make those plays. I got to see him make that because it seems like it's. When he has to make that play, he doesn't make it all. I said he had a good drive in the Packers game. That last drive, that was good. It was a really good drive. But
he won the game.
But we'll see.
But also to my point, this is why teams shouldn't overdraft quarterbacks. Like
100%.
Like take your time.
You either draft a quarterback in round 1, or it might be round 1, or you draft them in round 6 or 7. You either draft developmental. Or you draft him if you think he's going to be your franchise.
You don't reach
in between. You have no shot because you listen. If you're a 2nd-round quarterback, you might as well just say no. Just draft me in the 6th round.
Yeah, you don't reach for shot because
you suck. Guess what? You drafted a quarterback in the first round. You know, like who's the dude that drafted Clausen? Jimmy Clausen. I always think about Jimmy Clausen, 2nd-round pick the year before. Trash. They drafted Cam Newton number 1 pick. So what was the point of being a 2nd round? Now you have no shot because you're not playing over the number 1 pick who just won the Heisman and won a national championship. So being a 2nd-round pick. You know, sometimes it's like I agree with Jeff. Either round 1, top 15 pick, or you either 6th round, 7th round, and then they use you as a developmental guy, and maybe you get your shot if everything goes right. But in between, I feel bad for in between quarterbacks because you're going to get cut. Kellen Mond, 3rd round pick a few years ago. We don't even know where he is right now. He's somewhere in the abyss. The Giants used to draft 4th round, 3rd round, and they would always just disappear. You know, when they had Eli and all that. So like. But you get ready. Kirk Cousins, 3rd round pick. You guys that worked out for you guys because you drafted. There's rarities. There's rarities, but usually it doesn't really work. But you know, in perfect system, listen, Mr. Irrelevant is the starting quarterback in the Super Bowl with a chance to win.
That's crazy.
It's. I think we should try to focus more on that than negatives and all that because that is a great story. That the last
30 because there's 30 other quarterbacks that wish they were starting in the Super Bowl.
And there's some that never will. There's some that never will get to the Super Bowl and will be all pros. Josh Allen could never get to the Super Bowl. He could never get to the Super Bowl. There's Lamar Jackson could. Lamar Jackson got 5 MVPs and never get to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Brock Purdy in year 2 is in the Super Bowl with a chance to win a ring, and people would kill for that. It's football though. Football is just you just never know. Super Bowl
injuries,
like you said, Jeff. You could be 18-0 going into the Super Bowl. You could play a 10-6 team and lose. You know, it's just how it works sometimes. You know, it just you clean slate. Nothing happened. Nothing that mattered. You beat that team week 7 by 87 points. It doesn't matter.
Beyonce could turn the lights out.
Turn the lights on and all that. You know, it just doesn't matter. It's a clean slate, and you just for whatever amount of minutes football or 60 minutes, you 2 halves you.
That's why I think this is a good one. People keep talking like they're like, nobody cares about this one. I'm like, I love this matchup.
This is a good storyline.
I love this matchup.
Andy Reid, we talk about.
I don't know why people wanted Detroit to be there. Like we wouldn't care after about the first 5 minutes. After about the first 5 minutes, we'd be like, I don't care about Detroit. We would remember that we don't care about the Detroit Lions.
But like Andy Reid, his legacy. We talk about Patrick Mahomes' GOAT. To me, if Andy Reid wins this, I think he's the GOAT. Because his consistency, no matter who's his quarterback and all that, the different types of teams he's had, to overcome too, like that adversity, right? When he was with the Eagles, overcoming all that to get back, getting fired from the Eagles and come and building this Kansas City, taking a chance on Patrick Mahomes.
I don't know if it's
it's not full adversity. I'm just saying
when you have the best team in the NFC like for 10 years and can't
he still got fired. He took a chance on Patrick Mahomes when everybody's like, oh, he's a system quarterback. Remember, he was a losing quarterback, right, at Texas Tech, a system quarterback. Oh, those quarterbacks never, right? Traded up to get him, took a massive risk when he had a pretty good football team still. Drafted some good guys and Kelsey and all that. So, like, I'm just saying, it's not true because he had a good run in Philly, but I'm just saying, like, to get fired, you know, and they just throw you out and like, all right, you're not good no more. And then to go to Kansas City, build that up when they were failing, like they would have a couple good years and they were good and they would lose in the first round, but they were like kind of like a losing franchise for the last decade.
That's fair.
And to build them up and draft, it's not like Petro was number one pick. He was someone they traded up to get from 20 to 10, whatever.
Yeah,
they took a chance on him, and then he might have the greatest quarterback of all time that he traded up to get and built the greatest tight end of all time. He might have, like, you know, and Chris Jones, one of the best DTs in football, one of the best interior guys.
I'm not going to give
the second round, but like,
is Reed the general manager? Like, I don't want to give all the credit to Reed because I also watched him be one of the worst play callers in the history of the NFL for like 7 years with Donovan McNabb. Like he used McNabb in the Eagles. I'm just saying, no, he used McNabb in the Eagles as a learning process.
I mean, but he had them in positions to go to be getting deep in the play. I know he failed, and
you don't make three straight conference championship games by mistake.
No, he's a really good coach.
And he had McNabb's best years.
I don't forget those years.
He also traded McNabb to Washington.
There's nothing more gangster than be like, you suck so bad, we're going to trade you to our division rivals.
We're going to play you
and guess
twice.
what? He was right.
We don't care.
He's trash. He was gone after 1 year into the Vikings, and that was it. So he was right.
He said you're more beneficial to me in a division rival playing you twice a year.
I'd rather
you on the Redskins and on my locker room.
That's
fair. The guy who got
a jail. Good call, Cruz.
Kevin Cobb.
I'm going to wrap this up. It's been a blast. A whole 36 minutes longer than we usually do this, but again,
Bo's sleeping right now.
Super weak.
He's sound asleep. So, Prez, go ahead and tell the people what you got going on this week, where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me Off the Ball Pod. Just did a series, part one of our What If series with Omar, discussing the biggest what ifs in NBA history. You can listen to that. Both parts drop with What If Shaq Never Left Orlando. We discussed the Orlando side. What happens, because if you guys, not too much, but this is one of the best things I've done as a podcaster. So check it out. We kind of go through all the tentacles of what happens if Shaq stays in Orlando. The Orlando side.
Charlotte Hornets probably have an NBA championship.
We talk about that. And then we talk about the part two is the Lakers side and what happens with Kobe and all of it, and how it kind of leads up to even LeBron in LA that might have happened. So check that out. Doing a bunch of stuff on Off the Ball Pod. Got a bunch of guys talk Wizards, talk Knicks on the last 2 shows I had. 3 episodes away from 200 episodes. So I got some big things planned leading up to that. But follow me Off the Ball Pod and all that.
Jeff.
Yeah. Check out Jeff Needs Sports. Super Week continues. Me and Stu tomorrow are recording the Super Bowl's most likable teams ever. We're gonna do some of that fun stuff. We're capitalizing on what Stu did. We did a draft of the Super Bowl one-hit wonders the other day. So yeah, just check out the Off Ball Network. Check out Jeff Needs Sports. Just keep coming back here, everybody, and checking out the content.
One-hit wonder players or teams.
We did one hit wonder players the other day.
Oh, okay.
Timmy Smith.
Yeah,
the ultimate one hit wonder.
We talked about Timmy Smith. We talked about Timmy's. Yeah, Timmy Smith was on my list, Cruz, for sure. Timmy Smith and even what I should have put Timmy Smith and Ricky Sanders in a box. You know what I mean? And said like, but Timmy Smith, he's there too. I think he might have been my number 1 pick.
Nice. Never heard from him again after that.
Yep, 204 yards. One of the greatest, the greatest football game, the most important football game ever played. I'll stand by it.
Oh, with Dougie.
Yep.
Y'all already know where you can find me, FNC Pod on Twitter, Football Show Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. Saturday got our final CU Sunday. It's probably going to be a lengthy one, kind of like this one. So definitely tune in. We're going over same things we always do. Are going over picks, predictions, biggest storylines. Talk a little bit about what we talked about today. We're going to be in that show as well, and most definitely who needs this win more, Patrick Mahomes or Kyle Shanahan. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Stay tuned for that. And it will re-air Sunday morning as well. So if you missed it Saturday, catch it Sunday morning. For Chris, Jeff, and Mo, I'm Rob. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today, and we'll see you guys next time.